Pickel, that's Nate Bauer from Blue White Illustrated. Penn State dominated the Terps from start to finish in this contest. Maryland finishing with less than 130 yards of offense. Penn State rolling up 7 sacks and 9 tackles for loss. And yet, Nate, as it has been throughout the almost entirety of the season, the talk after this game at the Lions Den message board, social media, James Franklin's news conference, and this video is going to focus on the quarterback. So I'm going to let you take it away because there's a lot of talk right now about Penn State not putting Drew Allar into the game to start the second half and instead giving Sean Clifford 2 series before ultimately going to Allar in the third quarter, and eventually he gave way to Christian Bauer. Your thoughts on Penn State doing that and the reaction that it has caused?
One, it's just complicated, right? It is very easy sitting in the press box, reading comments, and to agree with them, to say, hey, and this is my fundamental underlying point is James Franklin talks all the time about bold and aggressive, right? Bold and aggressive, he wants that to be the mentality throughout Penn State football. And so that's, whether that's fundraising, facilities building, or actual on-field game decisions that they make, that is the mindset and the approach that he wants to take. When you're beating Maryland and it's not close and Maryland has 27 yards of total offense in the first half, understanding that maybe you haven't necessarily met the 4 touchdown threshold, right? Like you were close, but maybe you haven't gotten quite there, and that's your rule of thumb. Maybe that's what you want it to be before you're going to go to your backup. To me, you're betraying that. You're betraying that bold and aggressive stance by not having the trust, by not taking advantage and seizing the opportunity that you have to get Drew Allar into the game. However, you asked the question in the postgame, and as is often the case, it's not quite that simple, right? Penn State's offensive line is absolutely gutted, right? So whether people acknowledge it or not, and this includes me, okay, you're down Olu Fashanu, you're down Landon Tengwall, you're down Caden Wallace. That's fine, but really, Sal Wormley isn't healthy, and neither is Hunter Norzad. So what James Franklin said in the postgame was, hey, there are considerations that are at play here beyond just when to get Drew into the game. You want to get him into the game. He said that he wished he had been able to get him into the game earlier.
I always love when he says that, as if it's not his decision. I'll never understand that, but yeah.
Totally. It is his decision, but it's also one that is counterbalanced by the realities of all the other things that are going on the field. I still feel personally that it probably wasn't the right decision. Am I outraged by it? Am I incensed by it? No. I think that his rationale and the things that he explained made sense. You want to get out your starters. You want to get Sal Wormley out of the game. You want to get Hunter Norzad out of the game. You want to get Juice Scruggs out of the game. But in doing so, that then creates another counter effect of now Drew Allar, your prize quarterback for next year, is playing behind an offensive line that is truly you're working on second and third string guys at that point in the game. So it really complicates things.
It does. I wrote in the post-game takeaways that and I had the same take as you. Is it worth talking about? Yes. Do we agree about it? Yes. Is it as big a deal as it's being made out to be? It is not. It is simply not. I get the idea of fans saying that he should be in there with the first team. James Franklin admitted he should have been in there with the first team, but for whatever reason, whether they were looking ahead to how the rest of the game was going to play out, whether it's just not being at the point to do it, they didn't do it. Should they have done it? Yes, and you're spot on, but they didn't. And at the end of the day, it's not going to change anything moving forward.
And also, I don't know about you, but I thought Maryland would be competent.
And we're not.
And so Maryland wasn't. Penn State gets an easy win, gets a dominating win. This was one of the better defensive performances, and I think that people are going to be able to acknowledge that once they move past the quarterback conversation. But the defense was spectacular tonight. Maryland had nothing going, nothing happening. So no, I think they come out of this game, and whether look, nobody's going to be talking about this from our side of things this week at all, right? It's just in the immediate aftermath in the post game, it's like, man, you really probably should have tried to find those opportunities.
Exactly, Nate. Let's just get to a couple news things quick before we get out of here. And look, if you can tell from the video, it's windy, it's chilly, it was raining, cats and dogs earlier. I mean, this was not so. I know we had some folks saying, well, why are they just putting in Drew to hand it off? Well, I mean, quite frankly, this was a game where you just wanted to get in and get out in the second half. I mean, especially midway through the third quarter, through the fourth quarter. And look, this doesn't excuse the offense having like 117 yards after halftime and not scoring at all, or scoring once. But, at the same time, it just kind of is what it is.
Well, and I mean, how much did Singleton play? Right. How much did, right? I mean, they did go to Tank Smith. They did go to Tyler Holsworth. Like, you got to keep some of these guys healthy at this point. I don't know. This is November. This is Big Ten football.
You're already banged up. Yeah.
Penn State's already banged up. And to the bigger point, yes, there is development for next year. Absolutely, that is essential. However, winning all your games right now is it. That's it. Right. And so Penn State has a series of opponents. We knew this coming after Ohio State, of opponents that were manageable and Penn State would be favored against. You're 2 for 2.
Right.
You're 2 for 2. You got another one next week against a team in Rutgers that is coming off of a 3-game losing streak. Make it 3 for 3 next week. Worry about these downstream issues where they are, right? Like, keep them in perspective and in context.
Yeah, no doubt about it, Nate. Joey Porter Jr. had a non-football related injury that kept him out of this game. James Franklin offering no more insight than that. I don't know.
Did he say injury or did he say like health issue?
Issue was the word. Yes, I'm glad you corrected me there. Yes, issue, non-football issue, whatever that meant. So
I think he's sick.
Yeah, I mean that's the most logical outcome. Yeah, right. So I mean, yeah, he might have a cold or so. I don't know, but I mean, he was out here on the field. He was with the team during warm-ups. Caden Wallace and Olu Fashanu, the right and left tackle respectively, did not start, did not play. We did not see somebody else whose name escapes me at the moment. Curtis Jacobs is who I'm looking for. Yep. He was out. So I mean, as we expected, Nate, going into the week here, you tipped off Joey Porter Jr. late in the week, but the other ones we kind of knew about and were expecting they probably wouldn't play. Penn State overcomes it. I'll let you give the final thought here before we get back into the warm and out of the cold here at Beaver Stadium.
Yeah, I have no further thoughts. Okay. I mean, this is a good win for Penn State. Checked a lot of boxes. Yep. And I think maintained, preserved red shirts. That's going to be a storyline this week.
Except for Drew Shot, I think that ship has sailed.
It has sailed, but also like. All right,
he's not going to be here 5 years anyway.
He's not going to be here 5 years, and let's read between the lines here.
Right.
Fashanu's probably not coming back this year, right? Like, and that's not to say that the NFL thing next year is going to happen, but I mean, the writing is on the wall that Olu Fashanu is injured enough that it calls into serious question, obviously, the last 2 weeks of the season.
No doubt. It's $10 to sign up for Blue White Illustrated at bluewhiteillustrated.com. You get access to premium insider news like what we talked about with Nate and Joey Porter Jr., top recruiting information from Sean Fitz and Ryan Snyder, and, of course, much more. Join us at bluewhiteillustrated.com. $10 through next August. We will catch you next week from Rutgers, the lovely Piscataway, New Jersey, and whatever they call that stadium now. But until then, that's Nate Bauer. I'm Greg Pickel. We will catch you at bluewhiteillustrated.com, youtube.com/Blue White Illustrated, and wherever you get your podcast.